Good morning and happy Sunday. Well, I'm taping this a day earlier, pretty much because tomorrow morning is supposed to be rain. So I thought, let's start this Saturday. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is I got bad. I'm carrying my lunch pail. And there will be a video about that. I don't know, I may put it up tonight. I don't know, I may put it up tomorrow. But we'll see. But the companion of that is, how are you treating your lows? I know when I started years ago, I always just opened up the fridge and went crazy. If there was sugar pop, I'd drink that. Anything that was left over, I'd binge. My sister had an eating problem at the time. So, both of us just ate and ate. There was nothing really left in the kitchen after we did it. Now, on the show Alf, years ago, he always did a feeding frenzy. I think that's pretty much what my sister and I did. But for me, it was low blood sugar. And then, I'd go back to bed and I'd be able to sleep. That was when I woke up. Sorry, my lunch pail's in the way, but it's hard to carry it. There you go. But nowadays, I really have a problem waking up, and I'm doing some weird things during my sleep that I think are blood sugar driven. And one of these is when I was in the hospital, I got up and I threw my pump to one end, and I must have taken out the reservoir that held the insulin and threw it to the other end. And imagine why I was super high in the morning, as opposed to just high. Silly me. And years ago, especially when a teenager, and many, the whole thing, if you, nothing there, nope. If you, you're gonna have to wake up early. And in theory, he was right. There's Nico's tail. But in other ways, God, I hated that. Everyone else could sleep in, but Mike had to get up and eat. Oh yeah, and then you could go back to bed. Well, it was always, since you're up, you might as well do chores. It was like wash the kitchen floor, go out and what did I have to? Mow the lawn, and but just be quiet about it. Other people are sleeping. And I really started to resent that to this day. But, he was doing his best. And I don't hold that against him. I think people really need to take care of themselves and really understand, but now with the insulin pumps, a diabetic doesn't have to go through that. And back then, he just thought, he went through some classes and he thought, a diabetic has to eat. So he made me eat. So, like I said, he did his best. But still, I went through the time, and I went to my first real diabetic clinic, and it was at St. Mary's. It's an old hospital that's long since closed. And in there, she said, well, how do you treat a low blood sugar? And I said, well, I open up the refrigerator door and I eat. And, she said at the time, well, that's not really what we like, because then that's obviously going to lead to a rebound. Made sense? So I started to do the plan, which was do blood sugar if you feel low. If you are low, take 15 units of carbs, wait 15 minutes and test again. If your blood sugar goes up, then there isn't a problem. If it doesn't go up, well, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. So, a lot of times people, people need to do some things to make sure that, they have to come up with their own concoctions when they're brittle. Now, for most of you, follow your doctor's orders. Yeah. They don't work. They don't know what they're talking about. Well, I think they really kind of do. Now, I've shown you what's in my bag, and what my team came up with was various types of sugar. There was a blood sugar raiser, like you could have, I forget what they came up with. I think it was rockets and, some sort of sugar. And then there was some sort of sugar again. I don't know what's on my finger, sorry. Just like a little bug or something that got stuck there. Yeah, it was. But, that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. And while I was in the hospital, and I'll tell you the story. The first time I was in the hospital, my doctor asked me, well, how, you have severe lows, how do you treat them? And I said, well, if I'm aware of them, like if I do a blood test and find them low, I usually drink a 710 milliliter of Coke. And one doctor I had, this is aside, said, well, if you're drinking that tells me your basal rate's too high. Which in a normal diabetic, that can be completely right. So I modified it. Still happens, so I don't know. Now, they have large ones and such. So, you never know. I have Coke in my pack, and I drink a Coke, and Coke usually does help quite a bit. If I drop really quickly. I have in here, I have things for Nico, or some food, because that, a lot of times I end up somewhere and I'm stuck, and I'll give him a little bowl, and maybe actually I should get a little thing of water for him. So, this is a lot of times how my mind works. So you have to work with your doctor. Now, if something is not working, nowadays you can send them a text. I think you really have to let them know what the hell is going on. Because if you don't, oh yeah, it doesn't work. I don't have any faith with them. Sometimes things don't work, and no one will be able to know. That's not working. I keep forgetting. I just sort of remembered that, look at the guy moving. Chocolate milk was also on the list. But getting back to my story, I started a story and didn't finish it. Well, I had a low blood sugar in the hospital. Doctors were trying to treat it, and things just weren't happening. So, what I thought I'd do was I would try Coke. And Coke, I got a 710. And, I drank through it. And so when I went to the hospital, the doctor I had at the time said, well, why don't you get some Coke 710 in? So I did. And to be perfectly honest with my team, or the nurses, and I kind of put them up on my table. Everyone knows in a hospital you have that sliding meal table. And I put them there. Now, the ward I was on at the time in Royal Columbian has a medical overflow. It's kind of like, let's get rid of some of the people from emergency who need care. And so, lo and behold, Nico, watch out, please. Come on. I put them right out in the open. And this nurse, who I have had since then, and this last time I was in, I've told her the story, and she's a great nurse. And she came across the ward and saying, "You're a diabetic, you shouldn't be drinking that." And you know what? At that time, she wasn't my nurse, she didn't really know. And since that time, she knows my story. But then I think I had my doctor come in, and I was low, and he gave me one. I perked right back up. You see, brittle diabetics a lot of time don't know they're actually going low. And it's not like, well, if you just eat. Well, the nurses have tried that with me a number of times. And I really don't know if that's all the best. They just kept, oh, you're low, here's your snack. And my snack was actually very big. It was 2 sandwiches. And then, there were, I think there was milk and some, or fruit juice in the other. And I really packed on the weight. And you have to really watch out sometimes. But, the one thing, maybe we'll go up and around, that really sort of got to me was a lot of times I was dropped low a number of times. And they've kept feeding me all evening. I had dinner, and I was just totally full. And I would say, well, can I just have a shot of glucose? No, you gotta eat. And eventually they got the glucose and I could go off to sleep. And I know, but I understand we should try different things, but not like a full second dinner. But keeping your stocks up. And so I carry it like sometimes when I go out, like right now, I tested before I went out and I am dropping. So, and that's not a good thing. So I will work with it. I will do with it. And, if I have to eat, I'll eat. But it won't be like a full meal. And I think, that goes back for normal diabetics training. You did this all the time. And, I think people forget that sometimes your body has resistance. You do this, you do that. Probably if I could exercise, it would work. And I'm talking, not great exercise, just up and walking sometimes. But sometimes my legs just don't allow me. There's days where my legs are strong and I'm up and I'm doing stuff. And then other days, oh well. So we'll do our best with things. And that's why I brought the lunch kit. Now I've decided, I made a decision that I'll show this second video about the lunch pail, which I have right here, tomorrow. And then we should all be hunky-dory and all perfect. And you can understand what I carry in this thing. Now, when I'm in the morning and going out with the dog, I'll take some crackers and cheese, but I won't take the whole kit. Last time I went to my doctor's, I took some. When I went to diabetic daycare, I'll take it. If I was going out shopping, I will take it. Because I don't know when I'm going to drop. I eat before I go. So this lunch kit is my emergency kit. And like I said, I think I'll add stuff that wasn't in the video. Like, Nico stuff. Nico's bowl, and I have a collapsed bowl for him. So maybe you guys can share so other people can see what you do for your lows. I kind of hope this channel will be there to help diabetics and such learn things and learn from each other. You know, it's always hard to get support groups. So, have a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.